I'm sorry, boys and girls, for all of the background noises. We are in a mental institution after all. Testing.
What's happened? How'd you end up in here?
So, drugs.
What situation with drugs?
Lack of sleep while using different substances. So, in the same week, I used cocaine, ketamine, shrooms, crystal meth, and marijuana. And it was together with lack of sleep, I ended up in a manic state.
How did you get hold of all that shit?
Well, I locked myself in here, and then slowly, with time and with medicine, then I managed to to rebalance myself. Me, along with the help of the nurses and doctors, of course.
Who signed the order that put you in?
Me. Yeah, I came over here, and my mom wanted me to have a checkup, and then they said, I don't remember this, that after I got checked up, I went around this city knocking on people's doors. Could be true, could be not true. I don't know, because you only remember bits and pieces of a psychosis, of a manic episode. Will you ever shut the fuck up? Uh, so afterwards, they asked me if I want to sign to be in here, and I said yes. I remember. But I thought that I was in the Mossad and that I was on a mission. And the police, they went with it. They told me you've been accepted. So I believed, even for like when my psychosis got better, I still believed that I was a Mossad agent and that I was on an undercover mission here to find people to recruit.
So you had to do specific things for that?
Yeah, so after I got in here, then I was talking all normal and everything, and then I was like, okay, time to break out. So I went, time to go back to my mission. So I went to the monitor, and I punched it, and I took like pieces of glass from the monitor, and I was handing it out to people, and they were like, and I was like, who's with me, and like screaming my lungs out, who's with me? Let's get out of here. And yeah, and then I attacked the nurse who they wanted to they all like came together, and they all came together and wanted to hold me down so that I could get an injection of probably some benzodiazepines. And I attacked the first nurse that approached me, and he's now been at home for a couple weeks, ever since I attacked him like 2 months ago. I think I dislocated his shoulder. Yeah. You want me to keep going? Well, this isn't my first psychotic episode. I've had in the past, when I was in the Mundial, the FIFA World Cup in Argentina, then I was smoking copious amounts of weed, and I hadn't slept for 3 days because at the time I was making videos, editing them, posting them all by myself. I didn't have a team. So I hadn't slept for 3 days straight, and I was smoking some of Argentina's finest reefer. And I ended up, I didn't go to a mental hospital, but my friends kind of watched over me until my mom came out to Argentina to bring me back home. And then I went to this kind of like rehab center in Israel. I stayed there for a week and a half, and afterwards I quit. I quit 2 times within that week and a half, but I really don't like those kind of environments where people tell you what to do. Like I really hate it here in the hospital, obviously, but it is what it is. And over there, I could just walk away from it, whereas here, you don't have a choice because I attacked someone. Anyway, the point is, I was there for a week and a half, and then I got out of there, and I was when I finally enough time elapsed and my manic state was over, then Then I got into a deep depression. I've never been that depressed in my life, and I've been depressed before, but back then it was I would just lay on the bed and stare at the wall. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even watch movies. I had to force myself to watch a bit of a Netflix show, and I would just wait for the day to pass. It was horrible. That was like I'm not bipolar, but I experienced like a bipolar episode from drugs. But all in all, if I don't do any drugs, then I'm fine. I don't need to take any pills. Now I will need to take pills to kind of for like a year, antipsychotic pills. But yeah, besides that, I'm fine. I'm not like a mentally ill person. Just I like to push the limits, and I push the limits with drugs. You know, like you gotta be careful. You gotta use drugs responsibly if you're gonna use them, or just don't use them at all. And that's the route. That's the route I'm choosing now, to not use them at all.
What happens when you succumb to them? Because like weed is like a bit of a creeper, creeps up. So
Yeah,
a lot of people have it.
weed is a gateway drug to more weed, and then to harder drugs, because then you're like, whatever, I can handle the weed. I'm sure I can handle cocaine. I mean, what's cocaine after all? It's just it's the same as methamphetamine is the same as Adderall. You know, if you look at their chemical compounds, and but it's when you mix all of these together with an erratic lifestyle that things can go south.
I remember you were saying something about you had connections in Lebanon and you were like wanting to go up to Lebanon. So that was part of the episode, wasn't it?
No, maybe I was genuinely interested in going to Lebanon. Did I tell you that when we met up?
You said to me that you were from Lebanon.
Oh yeah, then I was already in a psychotic.
That was at Mike's place.
Yeah. Then back then I was. I don't even remember telling you that I'm from Lebanon, so that's not a good sign. But back in Mike's place, I was smoking weed and everything, and I did drugs that week a lot. So you know, like, can curse? You can say some bullshit when you're doing drugs and everything, and then you don't even remember. So no, I'm not from Lebanon. Oh, I know why I said it to you, because I wanted to like say that I'm from Lebanon after all, and that I tricked the world, and that I'm not actually 26, I'm 22. I just got that idea because I thought it would be pretty epic to fool the world, but then I thought about it more, and I thought, nah, I'm gonna live a lie. I don't want to live a lie for the rest of my life, you know.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that one afterwards. I thought, I don't think there's any Jews from Lebanon anymore. And there wouldn't have been from around the time when you were born.
Yeah.
So, like, it didn't make sense to me. But I don't know, I guess, what's the best thing, if someone says stuff like that to you, what should you do? How should you react? Should you question it? Or should you just, like,
So if somebody's in a manic state and you're gonna deny their claims, then they're gonna get violent. Yeah. So it's better to just go with the flow. That's why even the police told me, yes, you're in the Mossad. Because otherwise I would just take their gun and shoot them or something. Like at the worst case scenario. I met a guy over here who, when he was in a manic episode, he lived in the state for a year and a half until he finally got hospitalized, and now he's going to do a couple years in here. Why? Because he thought that there were terrorists all over Israel, and he was at a supermarket, and there was this girl that was working there that he was suspicious of, and she put her hands behind her back to get something, and he decided that it was her getting a gun, and he punched her in the face. So yeah, that's why it's dangerous. Like, I could have ended up here for a couple of years. I could have done something very stupid and not been fully aware of it. So
who looks out for you? Who's concerned for you?
I've got like my manager. He's like a father to me. And my mom, even though she ditched me when I was younger, then nowadays we get on along better. And then I've got two or three friends, close friends. I'm not, in my videos it seems like I'm an extrovert, but I'm not. I like keeping a close group of friends. I don't like talking to many people that much. And when I have to be an extrovert, then I'm an extrovert. Like when you're at a social event, like in Mike's place, then yeah, I'll be an extrovert. But anyway, I've got a I've got a few people that I do trust.
You know, what do you feel for you know, your YouTube channel and stuff like that? Do you still have plans to do stuff with it?
Yeah, I'm going to just keep YouTube as a passion project because the income is very unsteady. You can make $4,000 a month, and then you can make $500 or $200 a month. So currently, I'm going back to my job in sales. I was working like throughout my YouTube career. I worked in sales and as a locksmith in England actually. And yeah, I'm just like the way I like to live my life is I like to go somewhere, work my ass off for like a month or two, and then enjoy a couple of months of chilling in a cheap country that I like. For example, I'm going to Vietnam soon to work, and then I might go to Egypt or Jordan, like countries where it's really cheap to live, and then I don't have to work for a couple months, and I can just focus on being a hippie. That's how I like to live my life.
Do you feel that the attention that you get from like YouTube and social media is a blessing, or is it can it be troublesome?
No, I think it's a blessing because there's nothing I can't handle. I've seen a lot of shit in my life, and suddenly having some attention is good. I mean, it raises your spirits. It makes you feel like you're meaningful, and I do feel like I'm meaningful. Like my videos are meaningful because I changed a lot of people's perspectives on this country, and on the conflict, and I made people you know, Israeli Jews were shocked when they saw a video of me suddenly in Ramallah or in Nablus, and then on top of that, they saw people being nice to me, even though I told them I'm Israeli. And I know that I will die knowing that I made a change, even if I just change one person's mind. But yeah,
But mental health probably in the public sphere isn't really treated in a sensitive way, or mental struggles. So you're unusually very open about it, which a lot of people are not as much. So how do you deal with that, where you sort of open up about it and then there's all the
I'll tell you what, all of the negativity it stays on YouTube. But then when you walk around and you give a speech like this or an interview like this, then people will say, "Wow, congratulations, you're brave." People that meet you in real life, that recognize you. All of the negativity, it kind of stays on the YouTube comment section, and it's people hiding behind an alias. These people don't even use their real names, the commenters, and commenters are brutal. But I don't pay much attention to it. I don't let it get to me because I know that these people are not real. In real life, they wouldn't talk like that, for example.
you had like people bugging you out, asking you where you're at and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I don't really respond to people who aren't people that I'm already friends with or that I met in real life because again like these people I'm exposed to them. They see my face, they hear my voice, they know who I am, they know me, they know personal stories about me, the followers. But I don't know anything about them, and then if you answer them once, then they'll start saying like, "Oh hey, I heard there was an explosion in Israel. Are you okay?" Or "Hey, Shabbat Shalom. How are you?" But I don't want to talk to a random person that I don't know. So yeah, I don't really. It doesn't really bother me being in the public sphere.
How do you view mental health? Is it just about you know not staying away from drugs, and then what are drugs and stuff like that? How do you
I don't.
put the pieces together in your sense, or
Yeah, I'm just saying it's my personal condition where I have to stay away from drugs. Drugs can be a miracle for a lot of people. Marijuana can really help cancer patients. People or steroids or whatever. Like, I'm not saying drugs are bad. Okay, I'm saying you watch South Park. I'm not saying drugs are bad. I'm saying like they're bad for me specifically because I have a special condition, and it can be, I don't know, it can be helpful to other people in their pursuit of happiness. the point is, I'm not anti-drugs, and I think that you can reap a lot of benefit from them. You can, let's say, psychedelics can be very useful for figuring out something in life. When you're at a crossroad in life, then they kind of like make you deal with your problems. They kind of like surface issues from inside. And then cocaine can be helpful for somebody who has like low self-esteem and they want a kick and a feeling of euphoria. I'm not completely against drugs. I just understood that if I want to live healthily and not talk nonsense, then I shouldn't do drugs.
If you feel like that, what happens? You know, where does the twilight zone, the self-sabotage enter, where you sort of gradually drift? Because we all have these patterns, don't we? These templates.
Like, where do I cross the line?
Yeah, what happens?
For me, I shouldn't be smoking even weed at all, you know. I don't drink alcohol. I haven't for a long time. And that's just because there's nothing positive about drinking alcohol. And yeah, I don't know, like I think people should get to know themselves before they start doing con- before they start playing around with their own mind, because that's essentially what you're doing with these substances. People should get to know themselves and maybe talk to a psychiatrist if they're going to. You know, nowadays MDMA is used to treat veterans with PTSD. There's a lot of places around the world, like Holland and some states in the United States, where you can do therapy with these drugs. So yeah, I think a person should take drugs, but take them responsibly and make sure you know your condition.
Do you feel something in yourself also? How does it vibe with the current conflict? There's so much psychological turmoil, but a lot of it's swept under the carpet. But your approach is different. You know, you've got a unique voice as well. You've got a portal where you could talk a lot more about these issues and clear away.
I don't think a lot of people want to legalize all drugs.
I'm talking more about mental health struggles because of the conflicts. You know, the conflict going on. You know, a lot of people are really suffering, but it's not spoken about. I'm talking about being open about.
Oh yeah, I want to be open about it so people can learn that we shouldn't be afraid of expressing ourselves and talking about these things, because conversation helps. It really does. Co- Conversations, it's like catharsis, you know, letting go. It helps to talk about these things. And yeah, I want people to learn from my mistakes too, and to learn from each other's mistakes. So in Israel, people are pretty open, by the way. Like we're known for being open, and if you start talking to somebody about mental health, everybody has a story. Like, oh, I was depressed once, or you know, I was taking pills, or I had this problem with drugs or with alcohol. Everybody goes through through a mental health struggle at some point in their lives, and if they don't, they're lucky.